August 2025. August was essentially a continuation of July, but on steroids, and with a lot more payoff. While the month brought forth intrepid occurrences, it also sadly decreased our ability to catch various transit oddities. Let's dig into it. After a quick visit to Neber on July 17th, 2025 XD60 6289 continued to run on Stengel routes, then transfer from Stengel back to Gun Hill. Its last run at Stengel took place on August 22nd on the Q44. Now that it's at Gun Hill, its bike rack and Omni readers have been removed, and the bus is engaged in driver training in Pelham Bay through late August. Looks like Gun Hill may receive the new XD60s first, to put an end to the 2010 LFSs there. 45 2025 XD60 units to replace 47 2010 Novas. That seems fair. And with a few Nova shifts from West Farms, I think the job will be done effectively. Gun Hill continued to receive more Manhattanville loans, notably LFS hybrids and 2 next-gens, which served on several Gun Hill routes between August 18th and August 20th. These routes include the BX16, BX22, BX5, BX39, BX30, and others. You'll see it in the notable runs section. We also had XC40 4996 run on the BX12 on August 2nd, which is quite notable. 4692-93 were handling business in the Bronx in August. Manhattanville fixed up some Gun Hill units, both XD40s and LFSs, those being 7499, 7547-48, 8742, and 8754. We also got next gens 4689, 95, and 97 from Stengel on August 23rd, which brought our total up to 16 next gens, 15 2010 units, and 1 2009 unit. That brought Stengel's total down to 49 next gens. That also allowed us to transfer LFS hybrids 96, 41, 47, and 49 to 50 back to Quill. What the hell is it with these 9640s, man? They keep going back and forth, bouncing from place to place. We also got to use a few next gens on the one shuttle over the weekend of August 29th. 2025 new Flyer XE60 5603 returned from Neber to Zariga between July 29th and August 1st. Michael J. Quill received XE60 5603 on the next day, August 2nd. This marked the continuation of the XE60 era, a moment we have waited for since the 90 XE60 order was initially announced in mid-2022, around the same time. So we've literally waited for this for 3 years. Once 5603 got all of its parts, including a chrome rim, it began training around Manhattan from August 8th to August 18th, then entered service on August 29th on the M34A Select Bus service, before switching to the M86. As mentioned, this bus is the first of a 90 XC60 order, 5603 to 5692, which have the option of arriving to Quill, Kingsbridge, and or Gun Hill. Before this, we had some false positives, with people thinking that the unit either entered service on August 22nd on the M34 or the M86. On August 27th, Quill also received a continued supply of loans, including a couple next gens. You see them here. 4359 and 4695 were the notable ones. They also continued to use the 2012 XD60s before they were sent back to Ulmer Park. Tuskegee finally wrapped 2017 XD60 6109, 11, 13, and 16 to the local scheme, after 3 years of having those buses in the Select Bus Service scheme. 6116 was the last Tuskegee XD60 to be wrapped, which went to the Grand CMF on August 31st and finished getting wrapped on September 11th. Its last time running in the Select Bus scheme was on August 27th on the M101. 6105 was also re-wrapped as of September 3rd. They used LFSAs 1210 and 1253 as loans on August 18th for the M15 and M103 respectively. Tuskegee's one and only XD40 7597 was temporarily swapped out for LFS 8696 from Jamaica on July 24th, which still retained its Jamaica stickers as of early August, since it was only a loan. Clarifying a point which I made in an earlier recap video, I had said that Stengel had maxed out at 55 next gens. I might have been wrong about that. The max out total may have actually been 52 next gens. Many of the ex-MTA Bus next gens were initially untrackable when they re-debuted on Stengel routes, just as the ones at East New York were back in early 2025. Flatbush continued to receive more third gens from Staten Island's Castleton Depot. They got 7004 to 05, 7010, 12 to 13, 15 to 16, 18 to 19, 7021, 25 to 26, 7029, and 7045. 14 more units in early August. That brought their total of 3rd gens to 28 units, eclipsing the next gen total there, as well as enforcing the presence of Orions at the depot. So they basically got 14 units from June and July, and 14 units in August, half and half. 2 in June, 12 in July, 14 in August. The depot now has over 2 times, damn near 3 times as many 3rd gens as they do next gens. These moves, of course, helped to transfer 2018 XD40s, 7624 to 27, 29, 32, and 7636 to 37, from Flatbush to Grand in late August, to assist with the B62 route extension for Phase 2 of the Queens Bus Redesign. 2019 LFSs 8694 to 95, 97 to 98, 8700 to 04, 8706 to 07, 8711 to 16, and 8718 were sent from Jamaica to Charleston in exchange for Charleston's XD40s. 2 great and legendary eras were cut short due to this, and the fleet became more unified. LFS 8696, of course, went to Tuskegee temporarily. After the swap was concluded in early August, 8717 was the only active 2019 LFS out of Jamaica for a little while. LFSs 8699, 8705, and 8710 did not run for a while through July and August, but began to return to service in September and October, leaving Jamaica with a small 2019 LFS remnant as it is this day. They later got 8696 back in September, which brought their total to 5 2019 LFSs, those being 8696, 99, 8705, 10, and 17. Those are the remnants of the Charleston-Jamaica swap. Amazing how Jamaica lost XD40s to retire next gens in Brooklyn, then got several XD40s back to unify Staten Island's LFS fleet. However, these are different XD40 units than the ones that they gave to Brooklyn. Jamaica XD40 7838 was sent from Flatbush to Eastchester scrap on July 3rd, following a fire on the B44 in December of 2024. XD40 7356 was sent to Eastchester scrap, then to Zariga in late August. These occurred on August 22nd and August 29th respectively, in terms of 7356's movements. This was following a collision on the B46 which occurred in late April of 2025. Castleton received Prevosts 1642, 44, and 53, which increased their total from 16 to 18 Prevosts. I can't say they ever reached 19 since they were still transferring units while new ones were arriving. However, their 2025 Prevost total sunk to 17 buses. They transferred 1650 and 1653 to Yukon. 1652, a Yukon Prevost which arrived brand new to the depot on July 31st, was the first 2025 Prevost to break down, doing so on August 8th on the Sim 7. Here were the newly delivered 2025 Prevosts as of late August. Castleton had 17 and Yukon had 3. These were supposed to be MTA bus units, by the way. Alright, I'm thinking of the Sparkler. Now here's where things got really crazy. Due to all the catastrophically chaotic maintenance moves which took place in July, Staten Island buses were literally all over the city. Because of a significant chunk of 2025 Prevosts meant for MTA Bus being diverted to Castleton and Yukon, the greatest fuck you to a depot since Gun Hill and Kingsbridge stole portions of Manhattanville's LFS hybrid allotment back in 2022, we didn't forget. Charleston took 10 2021 Prevosts, 1458, 62, 65, 67, 1472 to 73, 81, 83, 85, and 87 from Yonkers in mid-August. This annexed to the 6 Prevosts Charleston stole from Yukon, which Yukon stole from Eastchester, those being 1387, 89, 96, 99, 1402, and 1404. By late August, Charleston had 16 stolen Prevosts from MTA Bus, which filled in for their MCIs and white Prevosts which were being repaired. That added to the allotment of 15 blue and gold Prevosts which they got from Meredith after its closure, those being 1572 to 1586, the 3 ex-Meredith Prevosts they took from Castleton, 1569 to 1571, as well as their native option order Prevosts, 1607 to 1629. In total, they now had 57 blue and gold Prevosts by the end of the summer, creating a supermajority of Prevosts at Charleston. Castleton also jumped in on the action, taking 7 Prevosts for themselves: 1406, 14 to 15, 1418 to 20, and 1422 from Eastchester, which joined their 12 inherited 2021 and 17 stolen 2025 Prevosts. That put them at 36 new Prevosts. So Staten Island essentially cleaned MTA Bus out of Prevosts. This shit is highly tragic for the Bronx. They already got several of their Prevosts shifted to LaGuardia and Far Rockaway, so that those depots can have a fully new coach fleet back in 2024. Recall that the only depots with MCIs are Eastchester, Yonkers, College Point, and Spring Creek. Then you do this shit? Now the rest of their new toys get sent to Staten Island? I'd have every right to napalm them over that kind of thing. With 1406 and 1414 returning from Castleton to Eastchester, at least Eastchester now has 28 of their 48 2021 Prevosts, and Yonkers still has 22 out of their 39. Both of them essentially lost half of their entire Prevost fleet. Keep in mind that these were the stats by the end of August and do not reflect the current reality as of late October, that most of the lone Prevosts in fact returned to MTA Bus. MTA Bus elected to return the favor. You want to play dirty? Let's play dirty. The Democrats need to learn a lesson from that. Anyways, this caused them to do the unthinkable and use 2013 MCIs and white Prevosts for service. I'm absolutely floored by this. Wow. Oh my goodness. 2015 Prevost. Shoot! Yes!
Techno, get up.
Huh?
Get up.
What?
Get up. You still have an update to do. You're not finished yet. Sit your ass back in the seat and let's finish this video.
Okay, I got it, Kev. Chill. Thanks. 9 2015 to 16 Prevosts, 2544 and 2692 from Yukon, 2696 and 2728 from Charleston, and 2503, 2506, 2573 to 74, and 2730 from Castleton were fixed up and sent to Eastchester Depot. Using the ex-Staten Island transfers, Eastchester was able to retire MCI D4500CLs 3393, 95, 3433, and 3452. 3458 and 3472 were transferred from Eastchester to College Point. Spring Creek retired MCIs 3331 and 3339. At least the GOAT 3333 is still active. 2012 Prevost 2413 and 2421 were shifted to Eastchester Depot and were given Eastchester stickers, as shown in the pictures. Credit to the photographer for that one. However, they returned to Yukon Depot without ever seeing service at MTA Bus. 2015 Prevost 2676 and 2688 were transferred from Yukon to Queens Village on August 24th, and were even given Queens Village stickers. 2676 debuted on September 3rd on the QM63, while 2688 tracked as a Q27 despite not running on the route. They can't use coaches. 10 MCI D4500CTs, 2252, 54 to 55, 57, 2260, 62, 74, and 2286 to 2288 were sent to Eastchester, while 9 MCI D4500CTs, 2273, 91, 94, 96 to 97, and 2300 to 2303 were sent from Charleston to Yonkers to replace the 2021 Prevost, which went from Yonkers to Charleston. That brought 19 out of the 53 2013 MCIs directly to MTA Bus. The first 2013 MCIs to enter service at MTA Bus were found out of Eastchester Depot, those being 2252, 2254, and 2262 on August 12th. The first one to enter service was 2262 on the BXM7, which made an AM trip on August 12th. I caught the Eastchester CTs on August 15th, when I spent a day in Midtown. I could have caught 2273 on the BXM11, but I was switching from avenue to avenue, so I did miss it coming up Madison. That's okay, because I caught 3 other units on that day, which at the time was pretty good. As you can see, the Yonkers CT era kicked off a little later in August than the Eastchester CT era did. The first Yonkers CT to run was 2253, which ran on the BXM3, BXM1, and BXM11 on August 13th. Then 2273 ran on the BXM1 on August 15th. And even those two had Eastchester stickers because most of the CTs were initially given Eastchester stickers. They didn't start getting Yonkers stickers until like late August. 2273 has been everywhere, from being the first QM64 for the Queens Bus Redesign, to running out of Castleton through early July, to now making runs at Yonkers and Eastchester. This whole occurrence is very reminiscent to when 2247 to 2248 were at Yonkers. The first 2015-16 Prevost to enter service at MTA Bus was 2728 on the BXM7 on August 25th. So this era is the most recent one to kick off, beginning in late August and early September, when I had already been sent to the Eastern Long Island. 2273, 2297, and 2300 did make quick pit stops at Eastchester, but did not enter service there. As a result, some Yonkers units had Eastchester stickers for a while. A couple Eastchester MCI D4500CTs, like 2252, 54, 86, and others, had been used by Yonkers as loans, because those two like to shift equipment. 2273 was transferred from Yonkers to Eastchester, and 2288 was transferred from Eastchester to Yonkers. So here were the assignments of the D4500CTs as of August 2025. Here is a list of the first 2013 MCIs to enter service at MTA Bus. As of the time of me recording this, 18 out of the 19 D4500CTs that were sent to MTA Bus have re-entered service, with 2301 not yet being in service since it was being fixed up at the East New York CMF, being repaired from all the damages sustained during its time at Staten Island. As you can see, the Eastchester CTs were the first ones to enter service in mid-August, while the Yonkers CTs later joined them towards the back half of August. Haha, we said back half again. Anyways, here were the first 2015-16 Prevosts to enter service at MTA Bus. 5 of them entered service in late August, but only 9 out of the 12 units sent there actually entered service. In general, they continued to make service as September progressed. 3 of them were only sent there for repairs and were later sent back to New York City Transit to Omer Park. The first one to enter service at Eastchester, as mentioned, was 2728 on the BXM7 on August 25th. Unlike the 2013 MCIs, which were assigned to 2 depots, all of the white Prevost transfers were assigned to 1 depot only, that being Eastchester. So here were the 2008 to 2009 and 2013 MCI D4500CT assignments as a whole at the end of August. Queens Village had 34 units, Spring Creek had 31, with 2 pending, they retired. Eastchester had 10, Yonkers had 9, and there were 4 ex-New Jersey Transit buses on standby, with 11 ex-New Jersey Transit MCIs being in service at the MTA. Here we have some more Staten Island loans and transfers which occurred. Mainly it was just some LFSs being shifted from place to place. An MCI D45CRT LE demo, 81288, came to New York City in preparation for the 5 MCI D45CRT LE electric coach order we are expected to receive in the near future. The demo arrived on August 4th and traveled between Omer Park, Yonkers, Queens Village, Charleston, then back to Yonkers between August 4th and August 12th. Some MTA bus moves took place. LFS coneheads 9184 to 9187 and XD40s 9312 to 14 were sent back from LaGuardia to JFK, which reduced their total from a maximum of 91 down to 87 coneheads, and from 40 to 37 XD40s, which falls short of their initial allotment. XD60 6036 was also sent from LaGuardia to JFK. Combined with XD60 6037 from Stengel and 6115 from Baisley, JFK now had 3 NYCT 6000 series XD60s, 6036 to 6037 and 6115. It's the pre-2019 days all over again. We got freaking 2017s being officially transferred to MTA Bus. I feel so old. This was likely done to boost JFK's fleet for Phase 2 of the Queens Bus Redesign, which introduced the Q10 and Q35 rush routes, along with the new Q80. 3 Baisley loans still remain at the depot, 6035, 6039, and 6085. However, XD60 5403 is now retired as of September 1st, following an accident on August 27, 2024, and 5405 got into a similar accident on the last day of August 2025. When they say 5403 is retired, I really hope they mean retired as in the 7507, 7548 sense of retired, and not in the 1020 sense of retired. There were also some C40LF moves. 346 was sent from Spring Creek to College Point in exchange for 545, a one-for-one swap. C40LF 333 was transferred to Spring Creek, which joined 346 to 350. C40LFs 334 to 335 and 352 to 353 were transferred to College Point, joining 238 and 337 to 345, which were previously transferred there in June. Most of these units came from West Farms and Gleason and were sent to MTA Bus to boost post-redesign bus service. Phase 2 of the Queens Bus Redesign kicked off on August 31st. That was a complementary addition to Phase 1, which started on June 29th. As such, this phase made last-minute revisions to several MTA bus routes from Q6 to Q104. It also affected the B57 and B62, extending the B62 up to Astoria and simplifying its route code. The Q6 Limited was discontinued, the Q10 and Q35 became rush routes, and the new Q80 was created. The Q21 was discontinued on August 31st early in the morning, with 9344 being the last bus to ever run on the route on August 31st at 12 a.m. Shout out to Transit Fanner Shamari for catching it. This was not as extensive as Phase 1, but still quite exciting. XD40 9317 got into an accident on the redesigned Q22 on the first day of the redesign, but it was able to return to service. Now for the Phase 2 deep dive. This was the part which delayed this August recap for so long. It was supposed to come out in late September, but I wanted to cover the Queens Bus Redesign Phase 2 changes in depth. Although not as extensive as the changes brought forth by Phase 1 of the Queens Bus Redesign, which began on June 29th, and which I covered in detail, they are still noticeable. These changes mostly affected MTA bus routes, but some New York City transit routes were also affected. Overall, the Q6 to Q11, Q18 to Q19, Q21 to 22, 24, 32 to 33, 37, 40 to 41, 47, 49, Q52 Select Bus Service, Q56, Q60, 69, 72, 80, Q100 to Q104, B57, B62, QM15 to 18, 24 to 25, and QM34 were all affected, while the SIM4X and SIM8X also died around this period. Overall, the major changes brought forth by Phase 2 were the Q6 and Q10 Limiteds, as well as the Q21 being discontinued, the Q7 being rerouted from Euclid Avenue A and C stations to 75th Street Elders Lane J and Z station in the Cypress Hills region, the Q11 being rerouted through Lindenwood, the Q22 no longer running between Roxbury and Rockaway Park, instead running between Far Rockaway's Long Island Railroad Station and Rockaway Park like the H train, and having 2 rush hour trips to Bayswater, the Q24 being rerouted to Parsons Boulevard F train station rather than running further east into Jamaica, and also taking a different route through Jamaica, turning on Sutphin Boulevard rather than continuing straight on Archer Avenue. The Q35 being rerouted from Newport Avenue to Rockaway Beach Boulevard, creation of the Q80 local to JFK, the Q9, Q10, Q35, and Q40 becoming rush routes, the Q32 and Q60 skipping Queens Plaza on the way to Manhattan, the Q33 and Q47 swapping terminals, which nerfed the Q47 and allowed the Q33 to go to LaGuardia Airport, the Q37 and Q41 being streamlined, the Q69 and Q103 being rerouted in the Queens Plaza region, the Q52 Select receiving a small extension to Edgemere and the Rockaways, the Q101 being rerouted from East Midtown to Hunters Point Avenue like the Q103, the Q102 being truncated and terminating at Court Square rather than Astoria. These changes all took place between August 29th and September 4th, but primarily on August 31st, which was the big day of Phase 2's unveiling. There were minor express bus changes as well, with the most notable as aforementioned being the death of the SIM4X and SIM8X. So here were some notable occurrences. We have the last SIM4X and SIM8X to ever run, those being 2777 and 2569. We have the last Q6 Limited, last Q7 from Euclid, first Q7 to Cypress, last Q10 Limited, first Q10 Rush, first redesigned Q11, the very last Q21s to ever run, first Q22s to Far Rockaway, The first Q22 trips, which were supposed to go to Bayswater, ended up flaking out and going to Far Rockaway instead. What a pity. The last Q24s, the first redesigned Q24, the first Q33 to LaGuardia Airport in several years, first Q35 and Q40 rush routes, first Q52 select to Edgemere, first Q101 to Hunter's Point, last Q101 to Midtown, and several other cool occurrences. The first B62 from Astoria being one of the more notable ones, and as aforementioned, the first accidents under Phase 2 of the redesign. Here we have the first school trippers, which replaced various pre-existing school trippers. Lastly, here were the notable runs for August. As you see, NextGen's doing a lot of cool stuff, XDEs and LFS HEVs deep in the Bronx, and XE40s showing off their colors. Their true colors, you might say. And that's it. I'm finally caught up on the MTA bus fleet status side of operations. Haha, previous me doesn't know that this video is getting delayed yet. But we will need another R211 update soon to reflect changes which occurred between mid-June to September. Other subway news, such as R46 retirements, R68 shifts, station enhancements, and other cool developments, will likely need a similar flurry of recap videos, such as what I did with MTA buses. Stay tuned for more upcoming content. Thank you all for tuning in. Please subscribe, stay blessed, stay healthy, stay hype, and thank you for riding with Next Stop News.